The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com, that's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I can be reached at 631-647-4694. When we talk about code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the country with their insurance questions regarding life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability. And we act as a wholesaler and an advisor to those people, and we can help you with any questions you might have. We're very fortunate today, and one of the things that we specialize in is we talk about guaranteed income for life. What a great thing. A lot of you may be facing retirement or at retirement, and you're saying, how am I going to pay for my bills, my house fees, my condo fees? And while we were making money, it was very easy to budget. But now that we're retired and we've accumulated assets, it's a great thing. But how are those monthly expenses going to be paid for? What bucket of money do I have to pay for it? And how long is that going to last is the biggest fear we have. And one of the other fears that we have that you should all be aware of is the market goes up and down, sometimes like a yo-yo. Lately, it's been going straight up. But we are very much due for a correction at this time. And I say that, and I say it every week, and I've been saying it for months now. We're having massive inflation right now like we have not had for many, many years. The interest rates are at an all-time low. The market is soaring. We are due. All the financial indicators say there is going to be a point where there's going to be a correction. Whether the government's funded or not funded, you're hearing all these news. You're hearing about tax changes and major expenses. There will be a correction. You don't want to have a correction when you're retired. And then what, if that's what you're planning for? So you need some sort of guaranteed income, and you need to protect your assets with proper Medicare insurance, proper health insurance, proper long-term care planning, possibly life insurance to protect your legacy. So these are the things we talk about. And today we have a special guest, Medicare Mike, who has another show here on LI News Radio. And Mike, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. Mike Brothers, Medicare Mike. And my show follows yours on Friday afternoons at 3:30.
Oh, fantastic. And how can people get a hold of you?
They can reach me at MedicareMikeNY.com or call me at 631-392-8268.
Right. I'm so glad to have you on the show today because, Medicare is confusing. I mean, it's okay. Medicare is the government health plan, but it doesn't cover everything. There's a Part B, there's supplements, there's Advantage plan. I mean, there's all kinds of, and it's complicated. I mean, the bigger question I have, and, years ago I used to be involved with Medicare, and I've long since not been in that particular area, but it was confusing to me is when I went to the doctor, how was the bill being paid? Do I pay out of my pocket? Is some of it going this way? Is some of it going that way? Do I have to do any of the mechanisms? Can you go into that a little bit?
Sure. Basically, there's two mechanisms, whether it's one is original Medicare or original Medicare with a Medicare supplement and a prescription drug plan, or then there's Medicare Advantage. I'll go with the more complicated one first, which is original Medicare or original Medicare with a supplement prescription drug plan. Original Medicare is there to pay some of the bills. Hospitalization, after you meet your annual deductible or per stay deductible, it's about $1,460. Then they pay the first 60 days of hospitalization. After that, co-payments come in and it gets pretty severe. On the
it's 60 days, not 90?
60 days before co-payments begin. There is 90 days worth of coverage. After 90 days, the co-payments get even larger.
Gotcha. Is that Part A or Part B?
That's Part A, hospitalization.
Gotcha.
Part B, which is medical and which you pay a premium for, the government, the original Medicare, will pay 80% of the bill. You will pay 20% of the bill, and there's no end in sight on that 20%.
Gotcha.
That's how it works from the government standpoint, or the original Medicare with the supplement. The supplement will come in and pay what the original Medicare does not.
Is that Part B also or no?
Part A and Part B, the supplement covers.
Part B.
Right, A and B.
But I mean, will regular Medicare Part A cover all that, or do you have to sign up for Part B?
No, you have to sign up for Part B to get medical. And if you fail to sign up for Part B at the right time, you will face a lifetime penalty for not getting it when you were supposed to.
Oh, boy.
And the same thing with prescription drugs or Part D. As far as billing on a Medicare Advantage plan, when you go into a Medicare Advantage plan, your insurance company is taking over the role of Centers of Medicare and Medicaid. No bill goes to the federal government, no bill goes to a supplement. 100% of the bill goes to the Medicare Advantage company. You just pay your small co-payments that are associated with that plan. Everything else is covered by the plan.
Gotcha. So when do you sign up for? It's like 3 months before your 65th birthday, right?
That is, yes. When you're retiring, 3 months, and I urge you to do it 3 months before, because Social Security offices are not manned right now. Everybody's working from home.
Right.
They are terribly behind. So I urge anybody turning 65, this 3 months before, the first of the month, 3 months before, you need to start the process.
Now, I just started it last month, and it seems when you sign up online, they have to give you a code or something?
Yes.
They send you?
Yeah. They're very, very security conscious.
Right.
You first have to have a My Social Security account.
Right.
And then when you log in to sign up for Medicare, you have to log in as your My Social Security, go into the Medicare. They're going to text you a code to make sure it's really you.
Oh, text you?
Yes, you can text, you can email, you can put it through the mail, but that's going to take a week or so. Well, so ideally, the code text to you, and you can literally type it in right then.
Oh, because they said they would mail it to us with 5 to 10 days. Is something we...
Yeah, there was a little... You missed a question.
Oh. Well, I'm glad I have you today because...
You could have asked for an immediate...
Okay. Well, we didn't get the... we didn't get the mailing.
Yeah.
And that's been 10 days already.
Yeah,
so
it takes a while.
We're getting a little nervous. But everything takes a while these days. I mean, processing of applications and things is horrendous.
It is. And especially for those that already have Part A because they turned 65 and stayed on a group health plan. When they're coming off that group health plan, they got to apply for Part B. Now there's physical paper applications that need to be completed by you and your employer or your spouse's employer, whoever has that group health plan, to prove you had group health coverage since you're 65.
Gotcha.
That could take 45 to 60 days to process.
Oh, boy.
So you really have to act as soon as you know. And I run across many times where people are literally afraid to tell their bosses they're going to retire. And they wait to the last possible minute.
Of course.
Terrible mistake.
I know. And planning, it's amazing. When people retire or they turn, there's a lot of decisions to be made. Medicare, of course, is the one immediate decision, but there's so many other things up in the air. And I know that, we talked about this ahead of time, but I deal with a lot of reps that do business with me that specialize in doing Medicare. And I think the government has certain restrictions on what you can and can't say when you're handling a Medicare plan with a client.
Correct. We're only allowed to talk about Medicare, dental, vision, and a couple other little things. We're not allowed to talk about life insurance, long-term care, any of that stuff at that meeting.
Right.
We can always talk about it later, but not while you're discussing Medicare issues.
Yeah. So, but, I encourage you, to work with a professional like Medicare Mike. I mean, there's so many questions out there. And the biggest thing that I can say with anything, any type of insurance you buy, you want to have that professional so when it comes claim time that you have an advocate to help you. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. My name is Neil Himmelstein. I can be reached at 631-647-4694. We're here with Medicare Mike, and we're going to go on break, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Thank you. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein, and you can reach me at 631-647-4694 or go on my website, mainstreetplanninggroup.com. We have as our special guest today, Medicare Mike, whose show appears right after this show. And it's very interesting because we are simpatico. We kind of complement each other in what we do, but we don't do the same thing exactly. We're both involved in insurance. Medicare Mike is a Medicare expert, and it's so important when you turn 65 to have the right advice. We were just talking about that. Please don't order from the internet. I talk about this with life insurance and everything else all the time. You want to work with somebody local, A, who knows the local market, B, the most importantly, when you have an issue, when it comes claim time, that's the crucial time. You need somebody to pick up the phone and call, not an 800 number that lands you in the Philippines or somewhere, and you realize you really don't have the coverage you thought you had, or it doesn't pay a death claim or doesn't pay a medical claim. You really need a professional to sit there and help you. So don't think you can do it yourself. The internet has put together a whole generation of do-it-yourselfers, and those do-it-yourselfers always say afterwards, wow, I wish I asked somebody ahead of time, then I wouldn't have a problem. Planning eliminates problems. Wouldn't you say that, Mike?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So one of the things we talked about is that Medicare and Medicare Supplement or Advantage Plan will cover you for the first 90 days. What if I break my hip and I'm sent home and I need help inside my home?
Medicare covers very little on any, even short-term care and long-term care. And home care, Medicare is limited to 42 hours a year of benefit. And to qualify is extremely hard. You would need to not be able to be taken care of any further in the hospital, where the hospital says that we can't help you any further. You're going home, but they still can't handle some of the daily living right. activities.
Right.
Then you may qualify 1 or 2 hours a day, 3 days a week. I'm making up numbers here, but no more than 42 hours a year. So there's very little on that. There is more coverage if you're going into a
facility,
a skilled nursing facility, as an example. But even that's limited. Under the world of Medicare, after 100 days, you're 100% responsible, and that's where long-term care comes in.
Right. So I specialize in long-term care planning, and I say planning, not insurance, because it's not always an insurance. And insurance can solve many of the issues. Sometimes we're not insurable, so we have to figure out there's some legal things we can do, but insurance is a great option for long-term care insurance. And long-term care insurance is not nursing home insurance. It's not for the nursing home. It's so you can stay in your home and get care and have a bucket of money that takes care of you. That's what long-term care insurance is. And it's a big misconception in nursing. Nobody wants to go to the bad place, you know? The bad place, the nursing home. And, I even caution attorneys because, elder care attorneys, well, let's make you poor so you go on Medicaid, which is not Medicare, which is health insurance for the impoverished. So we're going to impoverish you so that Medicaid can take care of your health coverage. And not only your health coverage, if you need care, they're going to send you to the
last place you would want to go to.
Right. The least expensive for them.
Right.
Which may or may not be near any relatives or anything else. So you may send you upstate, or some nursing home has a COVID outbreak. You don't know. And, it was very clear during this COVID outbreak that you didn't want to be in certain nursing homes. I don't know which ones. I wasn't involved, but I did lose some friends, family members in nursing home, as well as some that weren't due to this crazy pandemic we're in. But at the end of the day, I would want to have my choice of, I want to be home, I want to be cared for. And what it also does by having the proper planning is it avoids you reaching out to your children or your cousins, and you don't want to be a burden on your children. I mean, I can look at it from the end of being a burden to children now. When I started in this business, I was talking to parents of children, but now that I'm a parent with a child and I'm facing that near that retirement age, as they call it, now I'm saying, oh, wait a minute, my daughter lives in Hawaii, my son lives in Denver. Are they going to disrupt their job and quit their job and come work with me? And then what's that going to do to their social life? And if they are married and have children, and what are they going to do with their children? And so it becomes a burden. It's not just it's an emotional burden, not just on you, like who's going to take care of me, but on them. Right. Who's going to take care of them? Who's going to take care of their children?
Absolutely.
How is it going to disrupt their lives? And this is why long-term care planning is so important. And long-term care insurance takes care of you in the home and or a nursing home. And some of the long-term care insurance will give you cash money to take care of things like homemakers, or somebody to do your lawn, or somebody to, I remember when my parents, they've passed, but my dad, I've talked about him in previous programs, when my mom was still alive, and she kind of lost years of her life for taking care of him and passed before her, which was amazing. 7 years older, and she was the healthy one, but she ended up dying, maybe 10 years prior to him, and he ended up being a paraplegic. But, the one thing was, my dad didn't want to pay for somebody to mow the lawn. And, he wasn't looking, and all his lawn care equipment got stolen anyhow. So it was like things start building up because they didn't have a plan. He had the money, but he didn't have a plan. And a plan takes care of a lot of things for you. So long-term care planning is essential. And I think one of the things we also talked about that concerns me is many of these people that do Medicare, they're not allowed contractually to talk about long-term care and talk about these issues. And I was talking to you ahead of time. It's almost like you assume your health insurance is going to cover all this. It's not.
Absolutely not. In fact, I tell everybody I sit with, when I get to that section on the skilled nursing facility, rehab centers, how limited the coverage is, impossible to get for home health care practically. And if you're going to be in a skilled nursing facility for quite a while, you only have two options after a certain point. Either you have proper planning and have a long-term care solution, or you're going to go on Medicaid. And that's like Wheel of Fortune. Where it lands, you never know, because you never know where you're going to end up.
Yeah, it's problematic. So there's a lot of things you can do. So long-term care insurance is one of the things that we always recommend. And some of the long-term care planning now, there's very limited carriers. There used to be many, many more carriers. We're down in the state of New York to really technically 3. One on the independent side, on what they call a standalone. And a lot of the carriers are going towards some hybrid solutions, which are a combination of, let's say, life insurance with long-term care is maybe more of a hybrid solution. And they could do it either on an asset-based plan, where you take that rainy day money that you have sitting on the side and take a portion of that rainy day money and leverage it with a long-term care plan, which also, if you don't use it, passes to your heirs tax-free. Or you could pay on a monthly basis with some other type of plans, but they're combination, what we call hybrid plans. That's the way to thing. There's a new one I just heard about. Actually, I heard about it a while ago, but I just realized you can actually increase your long-term care benefit like in a whole life type policy now. They now have one out where it actually pays dividends and it grows. So not only does the death benefit grow, the cash grows and the long-term care grows. So you really have 3 buckets of money there. Whether I don't want this anymore, I'm going to take the cash, or let it ride, or I need the long-term care and let me take money out of this bucket to pay for my long-term care. This is all part of planning, and it's all integrated in with your Medicare and your long-term care planning.
Yeah.
And Mike, I am so happy you came to my show today. I really am. It's great discussing this stuff with you.
Appreciate your time too.
Thank you. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm here with Medicare Mike, who's on the preceding show, or the show after this. And I can be reached at 631-647-4694. You can go to my website, mainstreetplanninggroup.com. I've got lots of videos and radio shows and calculators and all kinds of good stuff. If you have any questions whatsoever, please call me. Anything you want me to cover on the show, anything that you heard that you don't understand, please give me a ring. Thanks.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.